So from today's class, we're going to start with the HANA modeling. Yeah? Now, now when you say HANA modeling, now try to understand this. Now say we are trying to implement data warehousing solution with, let's say, with HANA with SAP HANA. So what do we do as part of this is as part of data provisioning, you would extract the data from different sources and load into the different tables in HANA, and then I would like to project these tables for reporting. But the data what you have replicated into HANA and stored in the tables, they may not be ready for consumption, or they may not be ready for to be used for the reporting use. So in that case, what we'll have to do is I will have to perform some transformations. So there are two options here. One option is, let's say I have a table, let's say table 1, which is getting feed from the source, from through BODS or SLT or whatever it is. You're loading into the table A. Now I need some transformations to enable it for reporting. So what you do is you can write some procedure. There are two ways of doing it. One is you write some procedure with your stored procedure with all your logic, where you're going to read data from table A and modify the data according to your reporting requirements and update the data into table B, then use the table B for reporting. That is one option. Next option is you create a stored procedure where you're going to read data from table A and do all the conversions what you want and project the result as a column view and then consume the column view in the reporting. Yeah. So if you look at both these two options, in the first case, if I have to change the transformation, I'll have to again delete the data from table A, rewrite the logic in the transformation, again execute it, and again fill the table B, then use it for reporting. That is one problem. And one more problem is, as soon as the data is replicated into HANA, it is not ready for consumption directly. Until unless I fill the table B, I cannot use the data. So again, it becomes a background job to be executed before reporting. But if I go with the second option, where I build a stored procedure and project the output as a column view, here in this case, I'm doing on-fly transformations. So as and when the data is replicated onto the table, it is immediately made available for reporting because it does do on-fly transformations to it. Yeah. So I would prefer the second. And HANA is an in-memory database. It can handle the data on fly. It can do on-fly transformations also. I know performance-wise it is different, but still HANA can handle the performance of doing on-fly transformations like this. So then, assuming the second one is better, in case of second one, we're going to write a stored procedure which will read data from table A or table B or n number of tables and do on-fly transformations, which could be joining, projecting certain columns, or restricting data, or where class projections, whatever it is you are doing. And then ultimately you give the result as a column view, which can be consumed in the BO environment for reporting. But if you look at this case, we are writing SQL scripting to implement the logic. So what SAP has done is to make it code independent, to make it more non-technical. What SAP has done is SAP has come out with something called modeling concept, where you're going to have a drag and drop options, or where you're going to have sequence of dialog boxes or the screen based UI, which can enable you to build that logic which is executed on fly. Instead of writing a stored procedure with scripting, I can use a drag and drop options, and I can use the graphical UI screen and build my own customized view. And then this view and deploying of this view will generate a column view which can be consumed in the reporting. So now you'll have the tables filled from the source. On top of those tables, I build my virtualization models or the views by using the UI or drag and drop or joining all the stuff, and then project that for reporting. So whenever I do reporting, it triggers my view. View will perform the on-flight transformations on the tables what is being replicated from the source and give it to you for the reporting. So only thing is, instead of writing SQL scripting to do transformations, we can achieve the same thing by also doing graphical modeling also. But definitely, since when you say graphical modeling, you'll have limited number of options. Definitely there will be some options which you will not be able to implement with the graphical modeling always. For a scenarios where you're not able to implement with graphical modeling, you have to go with scripting. That's the option. So for all the scenarios, what you're able to implement with the graphical modeling by drag and drop and joining or all the stuff, we can go with graphical modeling. So SAP wanted to simplify it, or they wanted to make it more non-technical aspect of building on-flight transformations by way of virtualization models like attribute view or analytical view or calculation view. And if there is scenario goes beyond the requirement of graphical modeling, you can still build your virtualization model using scripting or your stored procedures. So I think if this point is clear, you understand what is the purpose of modeling bus. You're extracting the data from different source through different data processing techniques and loading into HANA. And we are not able to consume those tables as it is in the reporting. So I need to have some transformations which has to be done on fly so that the data can be consumed in real time in reporting. So in HANA, it is an in-memory database. It can perform on-fly transformations. So when I need to do on-fly transformations, I have two options. One is I write a stored procedure with all the logic and project the result as a column view. Or for a non-technical users, SAP has given some graphical UI-based modeling options where you can build your virtualization models like attribute view or analytical view or calculation view and project the result as a column view virtually. So during runtime of the reporting, it executes these virtualization views, performs those calculations on the base tables which has been replicated, and then gives you the result. So this is more like performing transformations on fly here. So one way is about writing coding, one way is about writing you're leveraging graphical modeling tools and building your virtualization models. So we've seen about scripting. Now we're going to look at how do we do a graphical modeling also to do perform an on-flight transformations. So if you understand the importance of modeling, then we can start moving now. Now, first let's see what is modeling, then we have to see about packages, then understand attributes and measures, then deal with different information models or virtualization models or information views, anything, information views, virtualization models, anything can be called. Attribute views, analytical views, and calculation views. Attribute view, analytical view, purely they are graphical. And when it comes to calculation view, it could be graphical or scripting based also. Then we're going to deal with something called analytical privileges, which is more or less similar to your analysis authorizations in BW. Then we already know about stored procedures, but I can create with the stored procedure in catalog folder as well as in content also. I showed you the difference in the content. You will be able to change the definition because you'll have design time object as well as runtime object. And then you'll have a concept called decision tables, which can be used for two things. One is for what if analysis, or when you want to do mass updates onto the table. Normally, when you want to modify certain record in a database table, you use the update statement, right? Yes. So for a non-technical users, instead of writing an update statement, I can use the decision table and do that. Yeah. Okay.
When you say views, are you physically storing the data under
No,
different
no.
positions, or are you just
Yeah.
going to?
Yeah, please ask all
What's
your
the view?
doubts and get clarified now before I jump to next. See, views are virtual bus. That is where I'm seeing they do on-flight transformations. Say, for example, we'll have something called SLT, which can replicate data in real time from the source. Let's say my source is something like SAP or non-SAP something. I have configured SLT which will replicate data in real time. When I say in real time, as and when there is a transaction created in the table in the source, it will replicate all those data and put that into the HANA tables. Is there some problem in the voice? Hello?
No, sir, it's clear to me.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So when that happens, now I'm saying there is a table which is getting filled in real time in HANA. Now what do you say? This table is not ready for consumption, and you have tried some logic and you have fill the data into another table and then access it for reporting. So considering the data from the table which is replicated in real time and filling into another table then consuming, so my reporting will not be real time. So my reporting user will have to wait for the data to be transferred until it is filled into the target table again, right? So to overcome with this problem, what I'll do, I'll have some table which is replicated in real time continuously. Instead of doing a background job, on top of this table, I'll build some virtualization model where there will be no data present into it and project this virtualization model for reporting. And this virtualization model will have all the logic of transformation, which will be executed on fly. When you run a report, it triggers the virtualization model, which is your views, attribute views or analytical views or calculation views, and reads the data from the base table, performs the conversions on fly and give it to you in the reporting.
So in this case, then the source table will not be columnar table. So we'll be dealing with either columnar or row table.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Yeah, good.
So in this case, when you say like we're dealing with the source tables directly,
Yeah,
it means like we're not dealing with the columnar table.
we are
We
dealing
may
with
be dealing
column
with the
store
row table.
tables only. Only column store tables only can be used in modeling. Row store tables cannot be used. Okay.
So now, when we're going to get the data from the source table directly, so in the transformation, so we are going to use it for columnar table and then go for
Yeah,
analytical
excellent
or
question. Excellent question. You're saying, let's say the source it is a row store table. When I replicate, will it be as a row store or will it be as column store? That's what you're asking me. When you
yes,
replicate the
sir.
data from different source into HANA, by default the target table in HANA will be a column store until unless you explicitly specify you want it as a row store. Whenever I replicate a table from a different source into HANA through SLT or BODS or whatever it is, by default it creates a column store table in HANA until you explicitly specify that to be a row store table. Okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Sir, you
Please,
said,
please be
so
clear
one
on
second.
what. I want you to be having complete clarity on what we are dealing with modeling before we do modeling. Yeah. Any other questions? Please ask me. Yeah.
Sir, you said that catalog objects have contained the runtime objects. That is okay. And you said that if we configure store procedure in catalog, we will not be able to change the definition. So how come is it possible with the tables?
Tables.
Yes.
Yeah, they've given the option. Actually, they've given some option for the tables, but they don't have option for stored procedure. Only thing is for stored procedure, you'll only have a concept called recompile. Actually, for any other databases, for stored procedure, they give option called recompiling, not for changing of the code. Yeah.
Uh,
Can we perform complex transformations in view as we do in routine in SAP? Okay, so there was a question. Can we do complex? So there was a question. Because
Hello. Hello.
please mute yourself, boss. I want again. Rashmi goes, I'm unmuting. Please unmute yourself. Don't mute again. I'm muting you. Please don't unmute again. Okay. So there is a question in the chat. They're saying, can I do all the transformations like how I could do in SAP BI in HANA modeling? See, since it is a graphical modeling tool, there will be definitely a restriction where there will be some options which you will not be able to achieve. But most of it you can achieve it. If not, you have an option called calculation view scripting based. I can create a calculation view based on scripting. So once I give you an option of writing scripting, should not stop you implementing any logic, I feel. Yeah. That would be my answer. Anything else? Any other doubt? So do you all understand why are we doing modeling here? What is the advantage of having the modeling options in HANA? Simple question was, I have replicated the data from different source and storing into tables. I can do reporting on these tables. So instead of doing reporting on tables, why am I doing modeling in HANA and then doing this? Why am I doing? Because the tables are not ready for consumption in the reporting layer for the business users. And I would like to do some on-fly transformations on those tables. And that too on-fly. That's where I've been going with HANA models. And there could be some other person from BO who asked me a question saying like this. Was instead of doing your modeling in HANA, we can do the same modeling in IDT, right? In the information design tool or UDT, what I can do, I can create a connection to HANA, bring all the tables of HANA, then do all kind of massaging like joining, projecting, filtering, all those options. I can do that in IDT. Then why should I do with HANA modeling? That could be a question, right? So the logic for that is like this. If I build, boss, please mute yourself, boss, please. The logic here is, say, if I do my modeling in BO layer in the business objects with IDT, the complete pressure of performing on-fly transformations will be onto the application server, nothing to the BO layer. If I do modeling in HANA, then the pressure is on to HANA database. Since HANA is an in-memory database, it can handle that on-fly transformations with huge amount of data. But if I put that into the BO, you will see the performance is really bad because the pressure is on the BO environment. You getting this? So I would, if it is HANA is my source for reporting, I would prefer doing all kind of modeling within HANA, then use those modeling objects or virtual models in BO for reporting. So should this be clear now? Why are we dealing with modeling in HANA? And why is that I'm not consuming the tables directly in reporting? Yeah. Or any other question?
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one more question.
Yeah, please.
Sir, since now we were speaking about this, I mean, data, whatever we consuming, it would be the structured data, right?
Restricted
because we are storing it in a table and we are extracting data from different sources.
Yeah.
And I mean, what about the data which has, I mean, unstructured data?
Oh, you're saying about how do we, so your question is straight away, how do we deal with the unstructured data? That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, because you said the other day HANA can handle unstructured data as well.
Exactly, exactly. Very good question. But that is not more relevant to this topic, but still I would answer it. Because my intention of giving you chance of asking questions was I want you to be clear on why we are doing modeling in HANA. That's the point. Okay. But to answer your question, yes, HANA can handle unstructured data also. Yes. We have a concept called full text index. And how many of you observed when creating index on a table, there is also an option called full text index. So by using this full text index, what we can do is the big string can be broken down into tokens, and all these tokens can be further analyzed by using some configuration. There are some built-in dictionaries maintained, or you can build your own custom dictionaries and do some sentiment analysis also on top of it. There will be some ready-made configurations available to do that. So it will break down a big string into tokens, and for each token it starts giving you the analysis whether it is a positive sentiment or negative sentiment or whatever it is. On though you can use those tables or indexes and build your modeling and then project the reporting for sentiment analysis or whatever it is. Got that?
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So we are doing in a way that we can use, real-time data to do our reporting in a daily basis or
Exactly. Without
whatever.
depending on any of the background jobs to run, and then there is a dependency in the reporting, right? No, we don't want that. As and when there is a transaction created in the source, it has to be replicated immediately through some real-time replication scenarios with SLT or whatever it is. Then I want the table to be consumed immediately by the reporting user. I can't say, okay, all the data has come in. Let me write a logic and transform and execute some background job, fill another table, then you can use that table. In that case, the reporting user is not ready to consume everything what is been replicated. He has to wait for some job to run and then he can consume it. Right? That's where we want to do on-fly transformations with virtual models like HANA models and then project it for reporting. So
Okay,
did you
that
all
means
understand why am I doing modeling? Suppose if the table what is replicated from the source is ready for consumption, I can do reporting on the table, no issues. But again, even in that case also, if I do reporting on the table directly, tomorrow if there is some change in that field or in the table definition, your universe will get disturbed. Even in that case, I'll try preferring building a view on that single table and then use it for reporting so that even if the underlying table structure changes, the view does not change for you. Yeah. So your universe is not getting affected. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, some of the reports maybe users are not using regularly, right? So you are telling that in HANA on-fly transformation it will give real-time data. Some of the reports they don't want online data. So in that case, whatever transformations we are doing in HANA, can you do in BODS, then extract data into HANA tables, then can you do reporting, or this is the best way if it is based on user requirement, whether it is critical reports or non-critical reports?
See, definitely. See, I understand. Your question is like this.
Yeah.
There are two ways looking at. Say, while extracting data from source, you would like to transform all the data in the ETL and bring it to HANA, and then consume it ready for reporting. One more thing is, instead of doing transformations in BODS, you would like to do all transformations in HANA modeling, right? See,
Yeah. Yes. Yes, sir.
definitely there will be some situations where, let's say now, um, I have a field which says like 01, 02, 03. Okay. My business user always wanted that to be not 01. They wanted that to be something, let's say 01, something 80 AP, 02 TG, something like that. So this kind
Okay.
of transformations is always required, right? So in that case, I can apply this in the BODs and make sure the data is already transformed and kept it in the table, and then I can consume it.
Okay.
Why? See, I
Yeah.
can achieve both the ways. I can do in HANA modeling, I can do in BODS also. When I know for sure that I want this kind of transformation, I will do it in detail, right? Because I don't know, I don't want the old value. I can do it, right? While bringing data itself, I'll do the transformation, whatever is required. When I say transformations here, transforming is different, transformation is different. For example, I want it, let's deal with this way. Let's say I have a table, okay, which has got data like this in an account based model. Say for example, it is like this here. So let's say I have recurrent like this here for some company, say KPI 1 and value. Let's say there's multiple companies, C1, say fixed assets, say 100, yeah. For the same company C1, let's say current assets, 200. Like this, there are a lot of KPIs for me. So, okay. So let's say for one company, I don't know how many KPIs I get in, I store it this way. Okay. Now, my users would like to see each column is one KPI, right? So now I would like to convert this. I need to do a reverse pivot, like saying C1 for fix. I want a company name, and I want a column as fixed assets. I want a column as current assets. So I'll put 100 here. I'll put 200. I would like to transform it this way, right? If I know we can do that with BODs, pivoting, but if I do this way, I don't know how many KPIs would be there. Let's say I don't know how many KPIs are going to be here. So based on that, my number of columns will keep changing. So in that case, if it is BODs, you need to keep changing the definition always for a new column again and again. Instead of doing that, can I do convert this format virtually through views or whatever it is, and then project this format? That could be one.
Okay.
Let's say I have table 1 and I got table 2. I know in BODs you can do joining, but the thing is that if I join the data and store, my data will be redundant again. So I don't want the table to be joined while loading. I want the table 1 data to be stored separately, table 2 to be stored separately. Only during runtime I want the join to happen. In that case, I will do with HANA modeling, not with the BODs. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yes.
If you do you want to store the transformed data, then BODs. You want the transformation to happen on fly, not to waste my space. I don't want to store. I want it to be on fly. Then I'll do in modeling only. Yeah.
HANA.
HANA itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, if I
What is
understood
meant on fly?
correctly,
On fly something, say, during runtime of reporting. On fly means, let's say I'm running the report. During the runtime of the report, my transformations are getting executed. That is what I'm referring it as on fly. Okay. I think the wording. Okay. Yeah. Next question.
sir, hello,
Yeah. Yeah.
hello,
Yeah.
sir, if I understood correctly, uh, as we are speaking about this modeling and transformation, so whatever data we are extracting, we are storing in it 2 times simultaneously, right? One is in table, one is in the transformation that we are doing it for reporting.
No, view will not store data. View is virtual.
Yeah, we will not store the data. That means it refers to the table data
Exactly.
as a definition.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So views
And
are
insert the
virtual.
data for
They only read data from the source tables, the tables, and then do on-fly conversions and give it to you. That's all. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And why I'm stressing so much is, you might be really strong in the entire HANA, but when you go to interviews, it is all on modeling. I know you feel modeling is very simple, but modeling is the most complex one. Yeah.
Sir,
Because
I have a
one
question,
second,
sir.
when you say data provisioning like SLT, BODS, all those will be fixed steps, okay? And even when it comes to database, it's all, everyone knows what is table, what is view. The new concept would be about modeling. Every interview, I don't know about US, but in India, major focus is on modeling, okay? Your questioning is completely on modeling, and there are people who are not able to answer it. It seems to be easy while you're learning, but for me, that is the most complex part. I've seen all the 3 parts, right? But modeling is the most complex part for me, because you will have limited options. Within the limited options, you have to achieve what is required. That is important. Because if you ask me writing scripting, I have a free hand of writing any lines, any number of lines of code to achieve the logic. But when it comes to modeling, with the limited options, you have to achieve the logic. That is very, very important. Okay. There are people who have scored jobs only with this modeling, being very strong in modeling. I know you feel that modeling is simple by seeing some videos in YouTube, but this is the most complex part of HANA bus. Believe me. Okay. If you're really strong with this, you can play with HANA like anything. Okay. Yeah, tell me, what's your question? That's why I'm trying to be slow with this topic. Really, really important.
Sir, the difference between modeling view and database view.
Yeah, in the database view, we are basically able to perform some minimal operations like joining or something like that stuff. But this information views gives you lot more options than your normal database view. Yeah, fine. Yeah, next question.
Yeah.
Sir, the transformation that we write on BODS, that executed on BODS server, right?
Yeah.
In that case, it is always recommendable to push down those transformations to the HANA database.
So, see, not like that. Even there's a lot of discussion in that topic also. Now SAP within HANA, see the BODS concept is EIM, Enterprise Information Management. The concept of EIM is already being implemented within HANA as Smart Data Quality and Integration. Means whatever you're able to achieve with BODS, about all the same thing can be implemented within HANA by using something called HDB flow graphs. There's something called Smart Data Quality and Integration bus. Smart Data Quality and Integration. Okay. So when you see this way, if I want to do transformations, if I'm using Smart Data Quality and Integration, I can do that within HANA itself. The logic is not whether you're doing with BODS or whether you're doing with HANA. The concept here is, do you want to store the transformed data? Then I can do that while loading itself. I would like to store the data as it is, and I want the transformations to be done on fly. Only then I will get into the modeling part, right? Hello?
Yes, yeah.
Because you don't have to worry about performance, because it is a background job. Okay, let it run for 1 hour, 2 hours. It's okay. I'm looking at if something which is coming in real time. You may not want to store the transformed data in your tables, because that might consume more space, or that might consume a lot of time in processing is also. But in any of these cases, I want to do on-fly conversions, then I will get into HANA modeling. That's the point.
Sure, sir.
Whatever I'm doing with HANA modeling, I can achieve all of them with BODS. I can do all the conversions and keep it ready. But let's say I wanted simple example. Let's say I wanted dynamic post. A simple example. I wanted to calculate the tax percentage. But the percentage what to be used to calculate tax is, let's say sometimes it is 12.3 sales tax, let's say 12.35, sometimes it is 11.25, depending on the user input. Can you do this with BODS? At the runtime of the reporting, user would have a prompt where he would select, I want 12.35 as a tax percentage. Based on that, all my calculations should be done on that percentage and give me the results. Can we do that with ETL tool now?
No.
No. So these are the cases which has to be handled, which can be handled only in HANA modeling only. So based on the input, I would have the transformations is different. I would perform the transformations on fly and give them the results. But if there are fixed transformations, you're okay, then you want to store the transformed data, then I can do that at the ETL layer also, right? Yeah. Say for example, I have some document number coming in. For every document number, I would like to concatenate the current date to it and store. I can do that with HANA modeling. when I'm okay to store, it is not increasing my space, and I can store that in HANA itself. In the ETL tool, I can apply this logic and fill in, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Boss, everyone who is looking at for a job in HANA, this is very, 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 very important, boss. Scripting and modeling, that's all. No one is going to ask you anything, boss, okay? Even if I'm telling you so much, you will not be strong, I know. You have to be really, really strong, boss. If you are strong in modeling, 100% they can give you any package, boss, okay? Please believe me and focus on this. It seems to be very simple, I know, when you see YouTube videos, but it has got its own complexities also. Okay? Please focus. ఇదొక్క టాపిక్ స్ట్రాంగ్ అయితే చాలన్నా ఇష్టానుసారం కొట్టొచ్చు జాబ్ ఓకే అండ్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ ద నాట్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఇన్ ద ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ అల్టిమేట్లీ వెన్ యూ డూయింగ్ జాబ్ దిస్ ఇస్ వాట్ మెయిన్లీ యూ డూ yeah now what is modeling?
One more thing, sir.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
So you are telling if BW content is to leverage our reports, we need to go BW on HANA. If it is not there, we need to use HANA. That is right, sir?
You are saying to do reporting అనకూడదు. If you start using terminology, let's say you want to implement data warehousing. So if you want to implement data warehousing, you have multiple options. You can go with core HANA, you can go with BW on HANA, or you can implement that with SAP IQ, or you can implement with non-SAP also. There are a lot of options available, right?
Okay.
Then the discussion would, then as part of solution architect, you would propose which one is suited in this particular case. For example, the data volume is less and the number of reports are also less. Then I can say IQ and then use BO for reporting. If the data is really huge, okay, and my source is not something like I don't want to leverage any business content or something, then I can go with HANA. Then source is SAP, I want leverage more of business content of BW and with complete in memory, then I can say BW on HANA as hybrid as a solution. Yeah. Depends on case to case. Is it possible to reduce the time taken by less than? There is a question. It says, suppose. Okay, there is a question. What is comparison between BW modeling and HANA modeling? First, I'll come to the topic. Suppose if a calculation we process takes 6 minutes to complete, then is it possible to reduce? Always there will be a chance, right? It says the calculation which is processing data in 6 minutes. Can we improvise it? Always you'll have a chance, but if there's something which you can't do beyond that, then no one can do anything. Right? But always you'll have some performance tuning topics which you can be handled. But if even after handling all those, it is still taking 6 minutes, then no one can do it. It has to be there. That's all. Yeah. Now, before we answer what is BW modeling or HANA modeling, let's first understand what is modeling. What is modeling? What is modeling? Modeling is not a big topic, okay? When you say modeling, yeah? Design, okay. Anything else? Design means you're saying how data has to be structured. Design is different, modeling is different, right? When you say design,
creation of objects.
When you say design,
logically connecting.
Yeah, what is it?
Logically connecting multiple tables to achieve the reporting requirements. The optimum way of connecting the tables to achieve the reporting requirements.
He's saying I will join multiple tables to formulate meaningful information for the reporting. He's saying that is what modeling is about. He's saying let's talk about table A, table B, table C. Table A alone doesn't have any meaning. Table B alone doesn't have any meaning. Table 3 alone doesn't have any meaning. I would like to join the result sets from table A, table B, table C to make it a meaningful information for the reporting. He's saying that is what modeling. Anything else? Still, any other answer?
Creation of objects.
book creation of object is object ante what object. No, you just have to feel what really it is. Don't get into the books or something. What is that you're doing it?
Creating a data flow.
Creating a data flow would be more of an ETL flow. Means you're extracting data from different source, you're formulating a flow to do that. That'll be more of ETL. Now,
Yeah.
what is the modeling? One
So we
point
are
I was accepting is we are joining multiple tables to make it a meaningful information for reporting. That is one we do. Converting raw data to formatted or meaningful data. So there is one more point from Vijay. He says, so let's say the data is raw and you want to transform it into something which is meaningful. So some simple kind of transformations, conversions of data you can do. So two things which is highlighted now. One is you want to join two
User.
Yeah, one second.
yeah,
Let me consolidate.
which meaningful data.
Yeah, you're trying to join multiple tables, give a meaningful information. That is one. And one more thing, someone told me, Vijay was telling, you want to do some transformations on the raw data, because let's say the data is not in a required format. You want to convert that into required format. Let's say, for example, I have a date. My business wants to see year, month, quarter also for reporting. So based on the date, you're deriving new columns like year, month, quarter from the date is also modeling, right? Okay, still simplifying huge data into structured desired format. So basically you're converting, let's say the data could be in any format, you're converting that into meaningful reporting requirement format. Okay, still, yeah. Presenting the meaningful data to the end users. Okay, acceptable. Presenting meaningful data for the end users. Simplifying huge.
Decision making data.
What is it? What? Yeah.
Decision making data.
Decision making data. The data what you provide will be used for decision making. So that doesn't mean modeling. See, so now let me say what is modeling. As per my understanding, it is about slicing and dicing. See, you have all the tables which have been replicated from a different source. Yeah, but all these tables individually may not make any meaning for the reporting. You would like to combine. You would like to do lots of stuff like say, if from some table you might want to combine multiple tables, like say unify the tables, or you might want to join those tables. You might want to hide some of the columns from the reporting. You might want to derive some new columns for the reporting, or you want to calculate some new column. Let's say I've got price and quantity. You would like to calculate some new column and project it for the meaningful reporting. Anything you want to do, slice and dice the data and then play with it and provide it in a meaningful format for the business is what I would say modeling. Now, I did not say multi-dimensional. I said, what is modeling? I did not say multi-dimensional modeling. I said, what is modeling? You just want to slice and dice your data, then do whatever you want, and then project it for in a required format or in a meaningful as an information for users. The tables will have data. You have to provide that as an information. That is what important. See, the logic could be anything. So I've got 5 tables. I would like to join those tables and combine that with some other information or derive some new columns or calculate some new columns, new key figures, some new calculations. I would like to do some currency conversion on it. Anything in order to make your data ready for reporting or make it as an information, anything you want to do on top of the data is what modeling is about. So joining is one kind of operation, converting or deriving new columns, calculations is one kind of activity, but all this would include as a modeling. So don't go with the books, create of objects అవన్నీ కాదు, అన్ని టేబుల్స్ అన్నీ ఉంటాయి, రెప్లికేట్ చేసి పెట్టుకున్నాము. టేబుల్స్ డేటా కన్జ్యూమ్ చేయలేం కాబట్టి ఈ టేబుల్స్ మీద చాలా ఆపరేషన్స్ చేసి దాన్ని అంతా డేటా అంతా మసాజ్ చేసి ఇవ్వాల్సి వస్తుంది. ఆ మసాజింగ్నే మొరటగా మసాజింగ్నే మోడలింగ్ అంటాం. ఆ మసాజింగ్ అనేది ఏదైనా కావచ్చు, 2-3 టేబుల్స్ జాయిన్ చేయడం కావచ్చు, లేదా 2-3 టేబుల్స్ యూనియన్ చేయడం కావచ్చు, లేకపోతే ఉన్న కాలమ్స్ నుంచి ఇంకో కొత్త కాలం డిరైవ్ చేయడం కావచ్చు, కాలంని రీనేమ్ చేయడం కావచ్చు, లేదా కొత్త క్యాలిక్యులేట్ కీవర్డ్ కావచ్చు. నో, ఐ వాస్ జస్ట్ రిపీటింగ్ వాట్ ఐ ఆల్రెడీ టోల్డ్. ఓకే, సో ఇట్ కుడ్ బి ఎనీథింగ్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్. It could be anything of this is what I would refer it as modeling. converting the raw data what we have into a meaningful information for the business by doing any kind of activity like joining union or some hiding some columns, projecting extra columns, calculating new columns, anything was, yeah, that is what I would refer it as modeling. That is what we say slicing and you're basically cutting down some table, joining some table out. Slicing and dicing is what we call that as complete. Now clear what we're trying to do? Okay. Now next, before we go further, we need to so when you go deal with modeling, we need to understand these two terminologies: attribute and measure. Attribute is something like in BW we are referring it as characteristic. In as part of HANA modeling, we would refer that as attribute. In BW we deal it as with as characteristic. In HANA we deal it as attribute. Same thing. In BW, whatever we refer it as key figure, here we would refer it as a measure. Here we would refer it as a measure. Okay. Now for people who don't know BW, now let's look at this. When I say attribute, any subject, any descriptive information or any subject would be an attribute. And measure is something which can be quantified. Anything you can quantify it becomes a measure. For example, anything which answers me a question, say how many years, how many number of employees, what was my total revenue, what was my total amount earned, what was my total profit, or what is the number of employees in a company. Anything which can answer, which can be quantified, which can be measured. Okay, that is what we refer to as a measure in HANA. And any business subject or any descriptive information is what we would refer that as an attribute. For example, I would say, now let's say I give you tell me this. I give you two columns. One is country and one is revenue generated in the country. I give you two columns, like a simple reporting table. I would give it as a table as one column is country and one column is revenue. Now tell me, when I give you this result set, or when an end user or when a business user looks at this result set, what is he analyzing? If I give you a report with a small table result set with saying country as one column and then the revenue generated in the country as another column, what is my business user analyzing? With this result set, my business user is analyzing what?
What is the annual sales by that country?
What is the annual sales by that country? So it means he's analyzing what? What is the subject of analysis here?
The individual country.
Is my subject of analysis revenue or the country?
Country.
Country is a subject of analysis, not the revenue. Yeah. So it means we are analyzing country performance by using their revenues. So when you say country-wise revenue, you're analyzing the subject is country here, not revenue. We are just using the revenue as one of the KPI, a key performance indicator, to indicate which country has got the good performance and which country has got the bad performance. But ultimately, you're analyzing country. Country is your subject. So all those subjects of analysis is what your dimension, nothing but you refer it as attributes here. And anything which can be quantified, what was my revenue, enta, enni, and lekke, which can be quantified like that, we refer it as a measurables. So did I make it clear on what is attribute and what is measurables? Okay. So always your attribute will be the subject of analysis. And to analyze your subjects, we would use the KP or we would use the measures, which can be quantified. Yeah. Okay.
Sir, in
Sir,
BA
it's similar to BO dimensions and measures.
Sorry. One by one. Yeah. What is it?
In a BA
Is this similar to BO's dimensions and measures?
Again, two people. Any one person. Yeah.
If I understood correctly, attribute is same as the dimension in Beaver, which we refer it as.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Yeah. So attribute in HANA is similar to your dimension in BO and similar to characteristic in Fabit in BW. Measure is like measure in BO and measure is like key figure in BW. Now next, what is the question? That's all right. Antenna question em లేదు కదా. Okay. So when you got to do this modeling of doing all the kind of slicing and dicing and presenting it to the meaningful information, and as we already discussed, we will have different kind of perspectives, right? Modeler perspective, HANA development perspective. So for all this kind of HANA modeling, we would use HANA modeler perspective when you want to do the modeling. Yeah? Okay. And as part of modeling, we're going to basically deal with three kind of information views. We call that as in virtual models. Information views is all fine. So all this HANA modeling is handled in this content folder. We dealt with catalog folder now till now. Now we're going to deal with content folder. The entire HANA modeling is all developed or handled in content folder. And as part of HANA modeling, we are going to deal with different kind of HANA models like attribute views, analytical views, and calculation views. Okay. See, in BW, you're going to organize all your providers by info areas, right? Same way here, assume your all these are your virtual providers, analytical view or attribute views or calculation views. We're going to organize them by using something called packages first. Package is just like a folder in the repository or in the server, just like a folder. So you'll have packages. Under the packages, you're going to create your modeling objects or information views, attribute view, analytical view, or calculation view. Or I can say all these information models are organized by using packages. Package is just like a folder, okay, nothing else. See, in the next slide, I'm not giving you any definition on what is attribute view, what is analytical view, what is calculation view. Just to give you a hint about what this is not the actual definition for you, just to make an understand what this would be. I'm just connecting, but this is not the exact definition or this should not be your understanding. Just to make you get initial understanding of these views. Yeah. Attribute view, this would be more like your similar to your master data kind of object in BW. Or for if it is BO people, you can refer this as a dimension object, dimension table or something. But these views are virtual here, okay? But so when you say attribute view, what is it? So again, when you say view, so as part of attribute view, we are going to do all this kind of slicing and dicing, take a lot of tables, join them, unify them, do some, add some new columns, derive some new columns or calculations, do anything, whatever you want. And you're going to project ultimately as an output, you're going to project some columns from this view. And if these columns give a meaning towards an entity or give a meaning towards a subject, information about a particular subject, which is a stronger entity or which is a stronger subject, then we call that as an attribute view. Now try to understand this, what is stronger entity, what is weaker entity, what is fact. Very, very important. This is general knowledge. Let's say you have a business, right? Any business you take in, it is always, we know the definition, right? Business is what? Set of transactions is a business, right? Now, what is an entity again? So we need to have that information very, very important. So look at this. Let us take some small shop, some pawn shop where they sell some different products. So if I go to some small shop person and ask him, what do you do? What is your business? You would answer by explaining what he does, saying, I buy these products for 10 rupees and I sell this for 11 rupees and 1 rupee is my profit. So if you ask him what business are you doing, this is what he's going to explain. He's going to explain me the different activities what he is doing. See, he tells me I'm buying this at 10 rupees and I'm selling this at 11 rupees and 1 rupee is my profit. That is what he tells me, right? So Now, so buying is one activity, selling is one activity. So these two activities together is business. Now, when I take one activity, let's say buying, then ask him, how do you buy? How does this buying happen? Then he will say, I have some wholesale guy and I give him, these are the products I want. I send an order to wholesale guy and wholesale guy delivers it to me, so and so. So if you look at this buying transaction, there are multiple people getting it. One is the product, one is the wholesale guy, and one is the shop owner. So only when the shop owner, product, and the wholesale guy, three interact, then there is an event called what? Buying goes. Only when these three interact, there is an event called buying. So if any one object is not there, that event cannot happen. For example, if there are no products, wholesaler would say, sorry, there is no stock, so cannot do any, he cannot, no shop owner cannot buy anything. Or let's say products are there in the godown, but the wholesaler is not available. Even then you can't have the transaction happen. You have a vendor with all the product, but the shop owner kept the shop closed and there is no shop owner. Even then the transaction cannot happen. So these are called as stronger entities. The major players of the transaction, they all together represent the transaction. Shop owner, product, wholesale guy or vendor, all these three are the major entities who are representing this transaction for us. Okay. Now, detailed information about any of this stronger entity. Stronger entity ante, without that particular object or entity, we cannot have the transaction happen. Product, wholesale guy or the shop owner. These three are stronger entities for. Detailed information about this stronger entity, about a product or about a vendor or about a shop company or owner is all we call that as master data generally, or dimensional data, dimensional information, or that is what we're going, that data is what we're going to project it as attribute view bus. Any doubt here? Okay, then if there no doubt, good. Next question is analytical view. This is what more of representing. See, I'm not giving exact definition, just initial understanding to make sure when to go for what. Okay. Next is analytical view bus. This is more of representing the fact data or fact transactions or transaction data. Now, let's say I told you about three entities, right? Now, shop owner, product, and vendor. Now, let's say if there is actually a buying transaction, how will that get recorded? They say so and so vendor on so and so date, on so and so vendor, so and so product, so and so quantity, so and so price. This was the total value, whether it is delivered or not, or still pending. You'll have all that kind of information representing the transaction. So you'll just collect all the data of these entities and will represent that as one event or one transaction. We call that as the transaction data. So when you want to model this particular fact information or transaction data information, which will involve measures, which will involve key figures into it or measures into it, then we get into analytical views. So when you want to model any table which will hold measures or key figures into it, we refer that as fact table. So when you want to perform modeling on the fact tables, we'll have to get with analytical views. So when I say fact table which would represent the transaction or which would represent an event which would have the measures in it. When you want to do modeling by leveraging those tables or fact tables or the table which will have measures into it, then we have to get into analytical views. But point to be noted, we can use n number of fact tables in analytical view, but measures or keywords can be referred only from one table only. While creating analytical view, I can use n number of fact tables or n number of transactional tables, but measures or key figures can be referred only from single fact table only. Okay, this is more like a cube ante అలాంటిది అంతే, but cube will have data physically, can understand like a virtual cube, and more like a fact table for people who deal with IDT bus. Yeah, not exactly, wouldn't be understanding చెప్తున్నా అంతే. Next it is calculation view. Yeah, when it comes to calculation, it's like this: whatever you can achieve with attribute view, whatever you can achieve with analytical view, all those can be achieved with calculation view, and much more complex scenarios also can be achieved. The best example, when it becomes mandatory, for example, I would like to refer measures from two tables, two fact tables. I can't achieve that with analytical view. I will have to go with calculation view only. In case of analytical view or calculation view, I can use measures. But in analytical view, I can use refer to the measures only from a single table only. If I want to refer the measures from multiple tables, I have to go with calculation view. Whatever you can achieve with attribute view, I can achieve with calculation view. Whatever you can achieve with analytical view, I can still achieve that with calculation. And much more complex scenarios also can be implemented with calculation views. Now in that case, now is there any difference? I'll tell you later. Then your question should be, when I can achieve with all things of attribute view and calculation, then why do I need attribute view? So we'll not be in a position to understand this now. We'll get, first let's understand this, then I'll answer that question. In what kind of scenario attribute view becomes mandatory, in what kind of scenario analytical view becomes mandatory, okay? But the question is, they'll ask you a question like this. They'll ask you how many types of views are there and what is the difference between all those views. Then when you start saying whatever I can achieve with attribute view or analytical view with calculation view, then the immediate question is, then what is the importance of having attribute view? Or in what kind of scenario you will mandatorily go with attribute view? Okay, I'll come to that later. Next is, we'll deal with something called analytical privileges, which will be help you to deal with similar to your analysis authorizations in BW, or row level security in BO bus. Say I've got a column called country. Depending on the user who logs in, I would like to allow him to see data only for particular country. Then I'll say that is where we go with analytical privileges. They said we'll have something called decision tables, which will be mainly for updating. See, when you want to modify some record in a table, you use update statement. Instead of writing an update statement, I can use the I can use decision table for non-technical users. And also we can do it for what if analysis. Let's say if the discount is so much, this is what it is. If I increase the discount by 1%, then what will be my revenue? So if I want to simulate like that, I can use the decision tables. Yeah. Walkthrough is not, so tomorrow we'll see any of, we've already been seeing about package, right? We right click on this and say new package, and then you can right click on the package. You see the screen already, right click, say new and all the stuff, okay? You can see here, you can see attribute view, analytical view, calculation view, privileges, procedures, decision tables, all this can be created here from here. We'll see how the screens more tomorrow, but look at this. This is the complete major flow what you have to achieve. Can you just read through this and see what you understand with this slide? Modeling process workflow. How does actual modeling happen? Please, everyone go through this slide and you'll have to explain me what it is. Yeah? Finish seeing or still seeing it?
Yeah, done, sir.
Done. Okay. Now this one, anyone? Can I explain this? What is this import source system metadata?
Yeah, it is data that what we get it from different sources.
Anyone else? No, but we are not speaking with data there. We are speaking about metadata here. Anyone else?
Yeah, importing the table metadata, the structure, the actual structure.
Excellent. So when you say import source system metadata, it's not, we're not bringing data at this point of time. We're replicating the definition of the table or information of the table into HANA. When you say import source system metadata, let's say your source is Oracle or your source is ECC, and let's say the source has got some 5 tables. I want the same 5 tables to be created in HANA. Instead of recreating those 5 tables, I can say import the metadata from those source. When I do that, based on the definition of those tables in the source, you will have those 5 tables created in HANA also. That is what import source system metadata is. Yeah. Okay. Everyone understood this? Now what about this one now?
Fill the data with the help.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
Fill the data with the help of SLT or BODS.
Excellent. So when you say now let's say, now when I imported metadata, now what, let's say in ECC, I had a table A with lots of records. Then when you replicated the metadata, what happens with the similar structure of the table, it is created in HANA also. Now the scenario is what, I have the ECC table with structure and with lot of data in it. I have replicated metadata, so in HANA also I have the table structure created, but there is no data in it yet. Then we'll use some data processing techniques like SLT or BODS or whatever it is, and extract the data from the source and load from the source table from ECC or SAP or non-HANA, non-SAP, anything it is, and load that into the tables in HANA. Now, once this step is done, do we have all the data loaded into HANA now? Yeah. Now, what is this one now? Create information models. So once I have the table loaded into HANA, it is not ready for consumption, right? So I would like to do all kind of on-flight transformations or slicing and dicing, joining, union, all the stuff I want to do, and then project the virtual model for reporting. So this is what we are dealing now, right? Creating information models. So on the tables, what has been replicated from we are not focusing on the ETL now. Assume if I show you some tables, assume those tables have been replicated from a different source. And then I'm going to use those tables. On top of those tables, I'm going to create these information models and project them for the reporting. So as part of creation models, on top of these tables, what has been replicated, I'm going to define this kind of slicing and dicing with attribute view, analytical view, calculation view, and project it for reporting. Look at this. And what is this next one? I don't know how many of you understand this one. Yeah. What is this?
Objects.
Yeah.
When we activate the.
Sorry, so voice is low. Yeah.
Objects. When we activate the information models, so during the activation, this.
I'm not able to hear you, but
irrespective of the users, it will be presented for all users which logged into HANA deployment.
I could not hear much, but actually what I understand is, I told you already, when you basically create your attribute view or analytical view or calculation views, when you activate them, does it create some runtime objects here, which are nothing but your column views? I showed you different types of column views like OLAP catalog column view, calculation catalog column views. When you activate your information models, system will automatically create some runtime objects in your which schema bus? In which schema does it create those runtime objects?
BIC system/BIC.
Yeah, sysbig schema. Yes, good. So it does create those column views in sysbig schema. That is what means getting deployed. Runtime objects being deployed in sysbig schema. This is what it is. And these runtime objects or nothing but column views will be consumed in the reporting. You understand the cycle completely? You extract the data from different source, load in, and then create your virtualization models and deploy your views and consume that in the report. That is what we are trying to do here. Yeah. You understand the complete cycle, what we're trying to do, but as part of modeling, we are focusing on this part. How do I create my models and deploy the views? We are not worried on how do we extract data from different source. We're only focusing on assume that there are lots of tables which are already replicated for you and kept ready. We just have to consume those tables and do modeling. Don't worry on how this table was brought in. Our focus should be on assume those tables are already replicated from different source, whatever it is. We just have to leverage those tables and learn how to do modeling on top of it and consume that in the report. That is what our focus. Then we can get back to this topic of ETL or data provisioning to learn how do we extract data from different sources.
Sir, one question here. The provision data says physical tables are loaded with content. So, I mean, does it mean that we are not loading with the data? What exactly the content means here?
See, when you see import source system metadata, you're replicating the table structure into HANA. Then when you say physical data means whatever the data we have in source, we are physically extracting it and loading the data into the table physically. Physical table will be the only physical data persistence object. Ultimately, data is stored only in tables only. Let's say in ECC, I have a table VBAC. When I replicate the table, the data from the VBAC table is loaded into a table in HANA physically. Table is only physically data persistent object which stores data physically in database in HANA. Right? On top of those tables, you will build your virtualization models and project for reporting. See, did I set the context right, saying where the modeling will be leveraged? Yeah? Did I set the context right, boss? Why we use modeling, where we'll be using this modeling concepts? Clear? Yeah? So I'm going to stop it here and tomorrow we're going to focus more, but see, very, very important. Before you come tomorrow, there will be a lot of videos in the YouTube. If you go to HANA Academy here, yeah, something HANA. If you go to this, there will be a lot of videos. Boss. If you just get in, there are a lot of videos about. Okay. See, there's a person called Bob who explains it very clearly on what is what, how to do modeling. There are a lot of videos on modeling here. See, modeling and design with HANA Studio. There's some set of videos like 19. How to create attribute views. Look at this. Yeah, just go. I want you to go through these videos and come. Okay. So then it will be easy for you to understand the tomorrow's class. Those videos are really good to understand the basic how it works out. So before you come to tomorrow's class, please try spending some time on looking at those YouTube videos on HANA Academy or HANA modeling bus. Okay, so it will be easy for you tomorrow. Yeah, fine. Thank you, boss. We'll meet tomorrow then. Yeah. Thank you, boss. Yeah.